welcome to Movement Not Miracles. I'm Anna from Eat, Move, Be Happy. I'm in a slightly different space today and it's a bit echoey actually. I'm in my hallway for reasons that I won't bore you with. I was going to be in the gym, which is absolutely freezing out there, so I've decided to stretch and mobilise. We probably need to be a bit warmer. I definitely need to be a bit warmer, so I'm going to stay in the house if that's okay with you. And we're going to work on our upper back today. So Movement Not Miracles is your bite-sized version of ways to keep your joints mobile and look after your posture, regular movement that you can do throughout the day to avoid stiffening up and getting some of those aches and pains that are associated with stiff joints and stiffer muscles. So, upper back it is. You can do, I'm just looking down my list, yes, you can do these exercises whether you're seated or standing. So I'm going to do a mixture of both. And to start off with, we're going to start with one of the really simple basic moves. We did this one yesterday, the shoulder rolls, just to get your posture, remind yourselves and your upper back in the right position. So to start off with, either sitting with your weight evenly distributed or standing with your weight evenly distributed on your left and your right side. So we are balanced to start off with. And just lift those shoulders up towards your ears, back and all the way down. Squeezing your shoulder blades together on your back chest. And just encouraging as much movement. It can be quite a slow, deliberate movement, but actually feel your shoulder blades moving on your back. So when you're doing that, again we went through this yesterday, try and keep, if you're standing, keep your bottom tucked under. So don't let your bottom stick out with that arch in your lower back. That's not good for your lower back. So tilt your pelvis, bottom tucked under. So to do that, you need to be working through your glutes and working through your tummy. So if you feel the muscles in your tummy, they should be contracting. And your shoulders come up and down and squeezing together. Your shoulder blades squeezing together on your back chest. You get a nice stretch through the front of your chest as well. But certainly for me, that's encouraging some movement through my shoulders, which helps just stop this sort of posture. Because the danger is you're sitting at a desk with your computer and everything becomes very round-shouldered. So we want to think of up and back and down. Now I'm going to use my strap, my yoga belt, just to help me get a little bit more movement through my shoulders. You can take these into shoulder rolls, or you can use any sort of belt, a dressing gown belt, just moving away from the wall, or a broom handle. Make sure you don't whack any light fittings if you're doing this inside. The closer your arms are, your hands are together, the harder this is. You need more flexibility in your shoulders. My shoulders are not that flexible, so my hands will be quite wide. But first of all, you're thinking of set up so that your shoulders are back and down, your weight's evenly distributed. Brace your hands on your belt or your broom handle, and then shoulders all the way over, really squeezing at that point. That's the furthest bit, and all the way back down. So you're encouraging the full range of motion through your shoulder joints. Don't force the move. So if the joint itself is giving you pain, then don't force past that. If your muscles are working, that's good. I'm just shortening the distance a little bit. So I'm leading with my thumbs are going backwards, palms up. You can see my palms are up there. Really squeezing my shoulder blades together and keeping your elbows straight. If you find that your elbows are bending, then widen the gap between your hands. Now that for me is a really useful, I'm going to try to shorten the distance a little bit. It's a really useful way of really getting my upper back to start to wake up and my shoulders to start to move properly. So it's a favourite of mine. Okay, so you should find that your shoulders feel a little bit more awake, perhaps a bit more space across your collarbones. You should feel that your upper back is starting to move a little bit. So what we'll do now, I'm going to do a twist, but with your hands behind your head, so elephant ears. So again, make sure you are set up properly, weight evenly distributed on the left and the right side. If you clasp your hands behind your head, and again, keep your pelvis tucked underneath, and then think about your rib cage from your lower ribs down as far as possible. We want to keep those still. So we're aiming to keep your lower part of your back, your mid and low back, still, because we get more movement through that naturally anyway. Our upper back, so the part of your back that's in between shoulder blades here, is the bit that typically we get stiffer in. So that's the bit that we want to isolate for this particular move. So think of working through your tummy, working through your glutes, keeping everything still from ribs down, hands behind your head and elbows back. And we're just going to think of twisting the upper back round. So my hips are staying pointing towards you, but my upper back is twisting. Now, you're not going to get much movement. Think of taking that elbow back. And don't forget to keep breathing whilst you're doing this. And keeping your shoulders away from your ears. So there can be a tendency to scrunch your shoulders up, which just squashes everything up and is uncomfortable. So think of that setup, that good posture first, shoulders back and down, hands up behind your head, elbows back, and then think of taking one, that's a really good twist, one elbow back without bringing your elbows by your ears. So we need your arms to stay as wide as they can. Now, as you turn round, there might be a tendency to let everything move. So you can see my hips have moved round. Now, that in itself is not wrong. You might, as you move round, you'll feel some movement in your mid-spine. And that's absolutely fine. Moving through all of our spine is good. To focus just on that upper thoracic region, if you can work on keeping this part still, so you're working through your tummy muscles. So as I'm pulling this right arm back, I'm thinking of keeping that left hip back. My body wants to do that, but I'm working hard through the muscles in the side of my waist here to keep this hip back, so I get more movement and twist through my upper back. Okay, so we're now going to move your spine, your upper back in a slightly different way, and we're going to do a side bend. So we're going to do a full side bend first, just to loosen everything off, and then we're going to go back to the elephant ears version. So for me, bendianas, these are very aptly known as, because I'm not that bendy. It makes sense, really it does. So I like to widen my stance a little bit. Again, you can do these seated. So you're going to reach down as far as you can down that leg with one hand, and then back up to the centre and reach down to the other side. And when you reach down, we're not reaching forwards with a bum sticking out. We're reaching in a nice straight line, so our body stays in the same plane. We're not bending through our hips, our bottom doesn't stick out. So the only movement that you should get is through the sides. And if you introduce a nice stretch and then a reach over, you'll get a nice stretch down that side as well. So think of pushing that arm away, aiming your fingers as far away as you can. And again, the arm doesn't come forward, it goes up and over so that you're encouraging the same line. So we'll do one more on each side. So you'll probably feel that you're getting quite a lot of movement through your mid spine and lower back, and again that's fine. So now we're going to do a similar move but concentrating on the upper back again. So again, if you're seated, make sure you're sitting with your weight evenly distributed, sitting nice and tall out of your pelvis. Same if you're standing nice and tall, but this time we're going to grip everything in. So working through your tummy to tighten up here, working through the muscles in your bum, your glutes, to keep that pelvis tucked under. So we don't want that happening. We want our pelvis tucked under, hands behind our head and elbows back. And this time, I nearly did another twist then, we're just bending one elbow aiming towards floor. So we're aiming for movement in our upper back. So if we relax through the whole of our back, we're going to get the same sort of movement as we did before, which again is not wrong, but to isolate that upper back, grip through your tummy to keep the mid and lower back still and just aim for that upper back to move. Don't forget to keep breathing. I have a tendency to try and hold my breath when I'm doing these, particularly when I'm concentrating on keeping one part of me still. But breathing's quite important. One more on the other side. And you hear my husband singing around upstairs. Okay, bit of a tactical waggle of those shoulders, so I can feel my upper back has been working. So now we're going to do a twist, and I'm going to do this seated. And we can use the chair to help us. So I'll show you front on first, so everybody can do this seated. If you're sitting nice and tall, feet flat on the floor if you can, sitting up, weight on both of the bones of your bottom. Sit on the bones of your bottom, not the fleshy part of your bum. So we're not sitting back here like this. We're sitting up nice and tall, shoulders back and down. So that's our start point. And again, keeping your knees facing forward, you're going to reach over, so opposite hand onto opposite thigh, and we're going to pull on that, so we're going to work through our legs there, and you reach behind you with the other arm. So you can reach to the back of the chair, or you can reach, if that's a bit high, lower down the chair. And the idea is we're sitting nice and tall, and we're trying to twist through the spine. Think of winding a towel. You know, if you wring a towel out, so you want to start at one end and aim to wring towards the other. Exactly the same. Try and think of, can you reach every vertebrae in your spine? So starting from the bottom, can you increase that twist all the way around? Keeping that breadth across your collarbones. So shoulder blades should be broad and shoulders should be away from your ears. So we're not doing this and crunched forward. So we need to be sitting nice and tall with good posture to start off with. We'll do that towards the other side. So start at the beginning. The setup is really important. Oh, that does feel good. My upper back is really tight. And breathe. Okay, we're going to do the same again on each side because second time is always better. That's a law of physics, you know. Are you coming down now? Be quiet. You're going to be quiet. I usually have Martha the cat helping. Now I have Christopher the husband helping. Okay, twist to the other side, nice and tall. As you breathe out, see if you can twist a little bit further, pulling on that thigh. tactical waggle. Final one for today. You can do this one seated. You need to be able to brace your hands on a work surface or a table. So as you lean forwards, you're going to place your hands on the surface and press down. So for those of us that are standing, I'm going to use the back of the chair to show you this. So make sure I'm in shot. Standing nice and tall, you need to be far enough away from the chair that your legs stay vertical. You don't have to use a chair. You could use a work surface, a table, a window ledge. Be far enough away from the solid surface so that your legs stay vertical. And as you bend forwards, you stick, you can't see all of me, I'll show you parts. Stick your bottom backwards and push down onto the solid surface so that you are stretching through your armpits. Think of sticking your bottom back and your chest down towards the floor. Now squeezing your shoulder blades together, just as we did at the very beginning, and aiming for that pressing action. Your arms should be as straight as possible. My arms look like they're bending, but they are actually straight. If you come back up. So when you're working in that position, again, make sure your shoulders are away from your ears. There's a tendency, as you reach up and press down, to lift your shoulders up and squeeze, widen your shoulder blades on your back. And what we're aiming for is squeezing your shoulder blades so you're keeping that nice posture. So keeping space from your shoulders between your ears, squeezing your shoulder blades together so you've got breadth across your chest, and then using the pressure to stretch through your armpits, push down, and use your shoulder blades to squash onto your back, which helps get a bit of movement through that upper back, which stops it seizing up. Now, clearly, it's designed not to move lots. If your spine was wobbling around like jelly all the time, then we wouldn't be able to stand up. So you're not going to get a huge amount of movement here, and it shouldn't move a lot. However, some movement is good. So we're going to do it again, because the second time is always better. The Rees law, first law of physics. So think of, I'm just going to move this forward so that you can see my legs. So the setup is, think of your bum going back, but my legs are vertical. And I don't want a big arch in your back like that, so you're still tilting your pelvis under. That's to protect your lower back. So if you feel this in your lower back, it's because you've let that bit go, so we need to tilt under. Basically, we don't want that to happen, we want that happening. I hope you can see that, the difference. So you should not feel this in your lower back. So think of sticking your bottom backwards, trying to work the angle so you can see how it's working. That's a bit better. Stick your bottom backwards, nice flat back, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Relax through your jaw. Push down into that surface so that you can get a bit more movement through that upper back. You might feel a little bit of a stretch down the back of the legs as well. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, come up nice and slowly. Oh, bit of a tactical waggle. So hopefully your upper back and your shoulders will feel like there's a bit more movement. They might feel a bit stretched, a bit more space. You might feel a little bit taller. Just some simple ways, regular movement throughout the day, to stop that upper back getting stiff and tight, and that's when it starts to ache. That dull ache in between the shoulders is an indication that posture-wise you're not perhaps looking after it as well as you could. So little and often is a really good way of avoiding those aches and pains, and just reminding ourselves of the right position to be in, because we all tend to sit down a little bit too much. We're not designed to be sitting all the time. So hopefully that's given you some ideas. You can do some of those moves throughout the day, I will be back tomorrow with another Movement Not Miracles. Please share the videos. Movement Not Miracles is a free session that we offer as Eat, Move, Be Happy. Started in the first lockdown as an idea for people who were working from home or for people who were stuck at home, just to keep us moving and feeling a little healthier. And actually it's really helped me with my movement. So if you can share the videos to your friends, your family, your neighbours, and it helps them as well, then the more people we can help, the better. And if you are interested in some other wellbeing solutions, we offer online wellbeing coaching around eating and exercise habits, ways to look after our mental health and our physical health. And when we're facing another few weeks of lockdown and this quite cold weather, as much help as we can get, I think, is on the cards. So please do share and let us know, let me know if there are any ideas that you would like me to include in Movement Not Miracles, and let us know about the website, www.eatmovebehappy.com. And don't forget to put your ideas in the Facebook group, the online wellbeing community. Enough waffling, I will see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.